Trump says that Putin let him down, referring to his attempts to end the war through personal contacts with Putin. Trump noted, "I thought this would be the easiest option because of my relationship with President Putin, but he let me down. He really disappointed me." Donald Trump stated this at a press conference with UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer. At the same time, Trump is confident that the war will eventually be ended. "I hope we will have good news soon and everything will be done the right way," Trump said. The British press describes the visit of the American president to the United Kingdom with the words pomp and protests. Today, Donald Trump had a series of official meetings with government officials during his second day in the United Kingdom. On the eve of the visit, King Charles hosted a special banquet for the guest, details of which also made it into the press. What made the reception memorable and why the monarch mentioned Ukraine during it, KTS correspondent Kateryna Fedorchenko will tell us next.
A banquet fit for a president. That's the kind of headline British newspapers would later use to describe this meeting. The reception hosted by King Charles for Donald Trump made the front pages of all the world's media. And the unusual choice of dresses by the British Queen and the First Lady, whose colors resembled the Ukrainian flag, made people wonder whether it was just a coincidence or if their outfits were a hidden sign of support. But it was the British King who openly spoke about supporting our country when he announced the toast. And he made the honored guest from America not only listen but also nod in response.
"In 2 world wars, we fought together to defeat the forces of tyranny. Today, as tyranny once again threatens Europe, we and our allies stand together in supporting Ukraine to contain aggression and ensure peace."
This reception was made symbolic in many ways. For example, the special cognac served at the banquet was from 1913, the very year when the future mother of Donald Trump was born on the Scottish island of Lewis. The American guests were also treated to port wine from 1945 in honor of the 45th President of the United States. There was also a special American-style cocktail on the menu, but all of this was served only after dinner. As for the banquet itself, it was attended by 160 guests. Each guest had 5 glasses and about a dozen pieces of cutlery, the arrangement of which the staff meticulously measured with rulers.
A wonderful gentleman and a wonderful king.
The lavish reception for the American president is being held against the backdrop of mass protests. Around 5,000 Britons took part in demonstrations against Trump's visit. But the British authorities have their own agenda. It's not just about trade interests or strengthening cooperation with America. According to media reports, King Charles was used as the British's secret diplomatic weapon. Politico writes that diplomats spent a long time searching for a way to push Trump toward decisive action regarding Russia and Putin. And they decided to ask the king, who is sympathetic to our country, for help. Today, Donald Trump is holding meetings with the British Prime Minister and government officials. They are discussing a new nuclear deal, technology, tariffs, and Ukraine. In the evening, a joint press conference is being held with the British Prime Minister. After that, the US President and the First Lady are heading home to Washington. Kateryna Fedorchenko, TSN 1+1.
Let's discuss your visit to Pavlodon. We understand you went to a rather unknown but specialized prize-winning building in London. Could you share what impressed you the most about that experience? Following your visit, you made some thought-provoking comments mentioning a tribal quality and the idea that everything new is mediocre. You then suggested that the public square is now centered on this. We would be very interested if you could please elaborate on that perspective for us. The Polish Parliament's document contains important changes. In particular, it ties social assistance to professional employment and restricts Ukrainians' access to medical services. The document following Sam was burned over Poland. Thus, for the law to come into force, it still needs to be signed by the head of state. And Karol Nawrocki supports some of the initiatives in the new law, in particular the provision that ties social assistance payments to the professional employment of Ukrainians. According to the new rules, payments will be received by parents who are employed and whose children are enrolled in Polish schools. Exceptions will be made only for parents of children with disabilities. To do this, they will need to obtain a Polish disability certificate, and the document also proposes to restrict access of adult Ukrainian citizens to medical services. Current Polish legislation grants Ukrainians protection until March 2026, and after the new government proposed to change the rules for providing assistance, the European Commission reminded Warsaw of its obligation to provide social and medical assistance to Ukrainians who lack resources. Ukraine will share its unique experience teaching Poland how to effectively shoot down Russian drones, as well as how to track them, distinguish decoys from strike Shaheds, and understand when to use interceptor drones and when to deploy jamming systems or missiles. The countries, says Ukrainian Defense Minister Denis Shmyhal, have previously exchanged experience in this field. This time, however, it is about creating a joint operational group for unmanned systems. It will coordinate the work of both countries, strengthen the necessary infrastructure, and of course focus on training the military personnel who will defend the airspace. The Polish Ministry of Defense adds that Ukraine has unique combat experience as well as unique technologies. That is why Poland is interested in the joint development and production of unmanned vehicles, air, land, and sea. Both private and state manufacturers are ready to join in, especially after the drone attack on Poland. Russia has shown that it poses a threat not only to Ukraine, but to all European allies as well.
We are ready to teach our Polish friends how to coordinate all this work, an absolutely complex mechanism, besides just protecting the airspace. We are also ready to share our experience in creating the so-called drone line. That is, these are entire ecosystems that protect and create a drone wall on the ground, and that form a drone dome, a drone missile dome, and an aviation dome.
For us, it is very important to cooperate, including at the ministerial level, to exchange and implement combat experience, because over more than 3 years, Ukraine has made tremendous progress, not only in the ability to fight, but also in weapons production. And we also want our countries to jointly develop and produce them.
There are currently no long lines at the border crossing points with Poland. This was reported by the State Border Guard Service, which yesterday warned about a buildup of cars at the Shahini checkpoint. The delay there was due to repair work on the Ukrainian side and the periodic maintenance of the biometric control system carried out by the Polish side. Starting from October 12th, a new digital control system will be introduced for citizens of third countries. And this system requires mandatory scanning of biometric data, including facial images and fingerprints, both when entering Ukraine and when leaving the country. Therefore, Ukrainians were warned that the test procedures could increase the time required to pass through control. Today, the situation at the Polish border has normalized. A small queue during the day on September 18th was recorded only at the Krakivets checkpoint, according to Andriy Demchenko, spokesperson for the State Border Guard Service.
As of right now, and very fortunately, we are not observing any particularly large queues building up or accumulating at the international border. In certain directions, for example, at the Krakivets checkpoint, there are currently about 60 cars. Meanwhile, at other border crossing points, including, for example, the Shahini checkpoint, you will find that the queues are significantly smaller. As for the queue at the border,
last night, an electrical substation in Pidrostove burned down completely. According to the head of the Center for the Study of Occupation, Petro Andriushchenko, it was set on fire by unknown individuals. In addition, last night the Russians kept people awake with drones. Explosions were heard in Volgograd, Saratov, Kursk, Belgorod, and Bryansk. In the Volgograd region, according to Special Operations Forces, the Volgograd oil refinery was hit. This plant operates to meet the needs of the enemy. It is the largest producer of fuel and lubricants in southern Russia. Every year, 15.7 million tons pass through it, which is almost 6% of all oil refining in Russia. And according to preliminary information from the Special Operations Forces, the plant's operations have been halted. And all the way in Bashkortostan, which is 1,400 kilometers from the Ukrainian border, the Gazprom Neftekhim Salavat enterprise is on fire. It is one of the most powerful petrochemical complexes in Russia, and the smoke from this fire can be seen for dozens of kilometers. We are waiting for more details.